Hey, how's it going? I've been thinking I should build a bigger seaplane and I should just go all in and make a steam-powered seaplane. So this kind of idea, but a lot bigger. I saw this plane the other day called a Shin Meiwa US-2, which is a Japanese search and rescue seaplane thing. I also see this other seaplane that pops up a lot as a concept, or not a concept, it's like an illustration of a seaplane. You've probably seen it before if you've ever searched for seaplane. So the general idea of these planes, I think, seems to be that they've got like 2 or 3 levels inside them, and then 4 big engines on the wings. I think I need to start with the cockpit again, but this time I'll make it actually big enough to have 2 pilots, like a pilot and a co-pilot. Okay, I'm thinking something like this, where it's going like... I could try and make it a cylinder, but I don't think it's going to be very cylindrical. So we've got 7 across the top, and the 1x2, then 2 1x1s, then back into the 1x2, and then we go down. So I could go down, that's 6. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then do a floor. It does not seem like enough space. Maybe it is. I could cut out the middle as well, or a section of this, and then maybe this feels much too wide, but it's all a part of like how I've done the wedges. And I want this to kind of be like a flying base, so it's 7 up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to go into 2 sections of 8. So this is like 4. I think I need to start rounding the bottom off though. That is kind of the shape I was going for. So it curves in a little bit more on the bottom, and it's still 8 high, so I can still walk around in it, and especially in the bottom, but I guess a lot of the bottom's going to be underwater. And both the reference pictures I've got have a little bit of a stubby nose, and I'm just going to bring this down. It's going to be quite flat on the front and then start to wedge down. I'll probably use this point as the wedging point. Okay, I've done something wrong. I think I just need to wedge in a little bit more at the nose here. I mean, it should float. It should have a lot of buoyancy in there. But, yeah. I'm not so sure about this side piece. I feel like it could just go across like that. Which would mean I can just change out some of these windows then. Okay, so this is, I guess, the front of my plane. That Shin Meiwa one has a little horn. I think I should have a little horn. So a little bit back from the window, it goes up and then it joins into the wing. So the wings are quite high up, I guess. I'm going to do custom wings. Probably need to make them a lot wider though, won't I? Depending on how long this plane gets. And then any kind of section I can cut out, I'll come along and put those wings in to generate lift. So I'll just carry on with the fuselage so that I can figure out where the tail goes to. I think with the tail, I'm going to do this kind of staggered thing for getting up. Because I want it to be quite long and narrow, but can't really do that in Stormworks. I think actually it's going to start going up instead of across quite quickly, because the reference kind of has a point actually. Maybe it's more like that. I didn't think it would be too much longer than this. This seems kind of out of control, to be honest. Maybe I can bring where the tail starts lifting up closer in so that it meets up here a bit nicer. Maybe like that. I don't know. I don't really know how this works. I think it'd be a lot easier to actually copy the artist one, not the real Shin Meiwa, but this other orange one. The body on the orange is very square. I think I would get a much better result, as well as from a gameplay point of view. Much better plane for flying about. So the tail on this illustration, it's sort of, it seems like it's quite fat actually, because they're using the rear of it as a cargo area. You can't actually see the back of it, the underside of the tail in the picture, but I'm guessing it's probably sloped up like this. I'm just going to do that, so it slopes up and then flattens off at the end. And then they have two big wings that come out the back. I'm not sure what these wings are supposed to be shaped like, so I'll go with that for now. And I think they all kind of have this wedged piece, I would say. Maybe it starts further back or something. I feel like it should be heaps taller though. It should be that big one. This is very obviously out of control now. And then it looks like there should be a second level below this. I don't know, it does something like that. Curves up at the back here and then lets the tail hang out a little bit extra. It looks like the wings are integrated directly into the top. And they are this kind of shape of wing. That's kind of what I want, I suppose. Problem is I can't get the wings as wide as I would want them. Not without going up to the actual hangar or spawning the wings in maybe sideways or something and rotating them around. I'm going to move over to the hangar workbench. Okay, I'm hoping with the extra width I can get bigger wings in here. That's what I wanted. Just massive wings. They could still potentially be a bit short, but I think the front half of this looks pretty cool. The back half is obviously a bit strange. I think I like these wings in the front, and the back is just a bit too weird, so I'm going to cut back and keep going from the front half of this. I'm really not sure how I'm going to get the tail on this to work. It's got so many funny wedges in it because of how it comes off the side, off the top down to the side. And what I would like is to have a big wing like this and then put two more of these highly angled wings off the top of that. So I pushed the two wings across and then widened out the side of the tail, and then I think I need to move them back a little bit, I suppose. Maybe like that. That might also help me figure out how I'm going to get the tail to merge in with this. And it also means that I can paint on all of the wings now and the tail fin as well. I think that looks pretty good. But I don't know how I'm going to do this. This looks crazy. I guess there isn't actually much issue with sort of having it be a bit of a cube at the back and then just going in. I could even try to put in some kind of loading ramp, but because it is a seaplane, I will have like issues with flooding if I put a ramp on the back. Maybe that's a job for another time. This is actually kind of working. I think I just need to move this whole tail wing section back just one block, so that's not bad at all. Yeah, that's merging in really well. I've encountered some issue just on the back section here. It's just kind of coming in a bit of a blob. I think this is sealed now. Nearly fully sealed. But I don't know how I'm going to get it into the water. It's taking up the whole build zone height. So maybe I need some wheels to deploy from the side. So I've got these wide sections now where I can put some landing gear in. For now, I think I just need to make them sort of work, which could be a lot trickier actually, because I want to start them in the closed position, but the way that wheels work, I don't know if they're going to be able to calculate where the ground is properly. So they're going to rotate down. So I actually want this thing here to be on the side, so when it comes down, this edge of the wheel is facing the ground, because that's the only edge that actually interacts with the ground. And I also want to merge these together so that it makes them stronger. 2 pivots instead of 1. And I'm not really sure about the front, so I might just put a big hinge on here. Somewhere up high, I guess. So far, this massive plane only costs $19,000. This could be a starter plane. Well, it's close to being a starter plane, I suppose. I'm going to save and load into creative so that I can see if I can push this out across the runway and into the water. I guess I should put like a motor or something on it so that I can drive it. These wheels are backwards. These wheels are forwards. There's also no door. And the hinge on the front is upside down. Oh, something else is going on here, but at least we're going towards the water. Okay, I'm just going to try a ducted fan to pull it out. Even this doesn't want to work. This will make it fly, so I'm wondering if I should put all the control surfaces on it. Okay, so I've got up and down. should be controlling that. Better turn vehicle damage off for this. That headset's working really well to muffle the sound. The roll is inverted, but everything else is okay. So the real test is if it will float very well. I guess most of the weight is in the tail, and because of how it goes up at the end, it's wanting to lean back. Maybe that's good for getting out of the water though. There's just a lot of drag though. I think there's just too much drag for the ducted fan anyway. If I was using propellers, then I could do what I did before, where I use the pitch to pull the rotors upwards. I mean, this is an interesting plane, but it's maybe too big. I can't spawn it anywhere useful. One option might be to take this whole wing segment and lift it up above the roof completely. I have to get rid of my little horn, and then I could cut this and rotate it. For the workbench in the hangar, it's not useful, but for this one, error. Oh no, it's too tall. Okay, so back to the hangar then. Is any of this salvageable? Because it's too big to spawn in the water. It doesn't want to take off from the water either. Well, let's save this. Seaplane 2. Doesn't matter that the wings are on backwards. I want to have a look at Seaplane 1. This is more like a helicopter size of aircraft. It'd probably be good to actually build the engines first and use them as the reference. And I think I would have to use these ones, because a lot of the other propellers are too big. I think you can maybe scale some of them down, but it's got to be able to spawn in here as well. Very small propeller. It's got to be this one. Yeah, I guess I can make it bigger though, so it's kind of like a bigger one. I really want to use one of these warheads. A little cone piece on the end of the propeller. So this is my maximum wingspan. The tips of the wings can be foldable though, so if I chop this back by maybe 5, give myself some breathing room for that, and then come across. So that's the kind of shape of wing, and then maybe I'd use pivots, I think, because then I can get a smaller footprint. Right, so this piece of wing comes up, and then we can fit inside this zone, and the floating bits on the end can probably fit under there as well. So now I need to figure out how I want to get engines along here using this propeller. I guess these things must go up. Oh, maybe they come up a bit steeper, or do they all come up the same kind of angle? Then you have the propeller, and then there's like an air intake below it, so I could use a scoop. XML that, so it fills up more of the space. And then it looks like there's actually a smaller scoop down here, which maybe hangs off the bottom or something. Then I think it must come along a little bit and then go up. Does it go like that? That'd be enough space to build an engine inside as well. I had thought maybe these pieces would be a bit fatter as well. But I don't know if I've got the space for that now. It didn't come together very well. They look a lot flatter in the picture I'm looking at, and I think I kind of would prefer that. Suddenly they're a lot fatter. What about this? It's a bit of a sharper curve on the top, and then a longer one coming down the bottom. Maybe I have to do a lot of XML to hide the wedges here. But if I took one of these scoops and XML'd the scoop to be a bit fatter, then it would start to poke out through that anyway. So maybe something like this. Getting it to connect to this will be a real challenge though. This wing is actually way too big for this thing, this size of engine. It'd have to do something like this. I think that looks really good. It's kind of like embedded into there. It's embedded into the wing pretty well. Still leaves quite a bit of space. I think I would have to change the wedges along here so that it's got good connection points. I'd really like to keep this gap here in the wing because I'm pretty sure I can turn that into a fuel tank. I could make the whole wings, all of the wings, fuel tanks. So now I think I need another one of these. It needs to end right where one of these wedges connects into it. Copy, paste. And then this piece to fill just becomes one of these 1x2 pyramid and wedge combinations. Now the props are not going to interfere with each other. I think that's really cool. I kind of want to have a custom piece on the front of this, but if I can't figure out how to make a nice pointy triangle thing, I can always I can put a spotlight on there. I can always change it over to this one, the rotor end, and that's got the nice point on it. Now I can just copy the entire thing, flip it, then line it up on this edge here. I don't know what happened with this. Oh, because it comes back so much further. I'm actually going to extend this shroud on the outer 1x1 block. Because then I can just use this wedge. This wedge, this pyramid, and pyramid straight back into the wing. If I have to, I can do something along the back here and like try and blend it back down, or I can chop it forwards and not have to deal with that at all. It does look a bit strange that it's longer. It just looks considerably longer, even though it really isn't. I mean, that kind of looks a bit nicer anyway. On this side, it looks a bit odd. Now this side looks odd. Can't win. I'll just leave it alone for now. It's not really important, and I can come back to it anyway. Now, I want the big cockpit that I had from the seaplane 2. This is going to become the seaplane 3. Maybe something like that for positioning, and then it's a little bit higher, I suppose, but then this can roll down onto it. I wonder if these pieces that come down can act as the floats, so when you're in the water, this just pokes down into the water and helps it keep it up. Do I need to put a floaty piece on the end, or will it just naturally do that? That would be a really cool feature. When you're in the water, the wings automatically fold down and stabilize the aircraft when it's in floating mode. I don't think I need any of this stuff back here now. This can all go. I'm pretty certain I will need to put landing wheels on this. I'm going to use an XML wedge for this piece. So all I really need to do is make sure that that's sealed off there. And I'll put that wedge in now. I might also need to seal off behind that wedge, so it might be a good idea to just sort of seal this whole area. Yeah. Well, I think I got there in the end. The front is looking pretty good. The wings will fold out, and they could even be a little bit longer. I just have to figure out how to do a tail, how to make it come up properly. Let's see if this floats. Of course it doesn't float. I can make it float some other time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.